So, look, the cost of living pressures, they're already biting more than a little bit, aren't they? But today, rail passengers in England and Wales will face a new 5% train fare price hike.
I thought they'd only just gone up.
It'd be nice if it turned up on time every now and again, wouldn't it?
Might be nice. If you're in Scotland, the rise is even higher, almost 9%. But that won't take effect for another 4 weeks. So well, that's all right then.
Well, that's OK. Got time to save up. But look, how does this impact you? We took to the streets to find out.
I think at the minute, nothing's really changed on the trains, so it's not really fair to raise the prices.
We are students, so we are always struggling over here because we have to meet our expenditure fees and our rents and everything. So in that case, when the train fare goes higher, it's more difficult for us to survive here.
I would be quite happy for the rail fares to go up if they invested the profits in the infrastructure so that the rail network and the rolling carriage was consistently good standard and that the trains ran on time.
Travel correspondent for The Independent now, the legendary Simon Calder joins us. Simon, good stuff, great to have you on. How on earth can they justify a price hike to our shoddy trains?
Well, actually, if you are the Transport Secretary, Mark Harper, and I don't think you are, Patrick, but what he is saying is that we are being really nice to rail travellers for reasons which nobody can quite remember. The normal increase in rail fares at the start of each year is whatever the retail price index was in the previous July. That happens to be 9%. So by saying, actually, we're only going to do it 4.9%, we are being really helpful to you. We've got a special intervention. And also, I think there's politics at work, funnily enough, in an election year. So people, they will be able to say, we're keeping increases under 5%. What that actually means for people, well, if you are going, for instance, from Cardiff to Bristol today, or you're going from Leeds to Manchester, you will be paying for a standard anytime ticket. You'll be paying more. This only affects so-called regulated fares, and those are season tickets, journeys to and from big cities, and some longer distance off-peak services, but they also tend to affect other ticket prices as well. So, yeah, people will be finding out a lot more. And just to put it into context, there's one particular journey from Didcot Parkway in Oxfordshire to Swindon. It only takes 14 minutes. It's about 24 miles, and that is going to be going up to over £30 for less than a quarter of an hour of rail travel. And people are understandably cheesed off. I mean, it's as though your rail ticket is now actually a kind of on-the-spot fine.
Yeah. But we should be grateful in England and Wales that it's just 4.9%, whereas in Scotland, 9%.
Yeah, and that's going to be, well, it's going to be 8.7%, they say, and that's going to be taking place on April Fool's Day. I'm not going to comment on that. But the thing is that in Scotland, the railways are even more heavily subsidised than they are in England. They've also got an interesting experiment at the moment, about halfway through, where they halve for 6 months the peak fares. They basically just said we're only going to have off-peak fares. I've been trying to find out what effect that's had, because obviously the hope is, well, you actually get so many more people travelling by train that you increase your revenue, rather than people who are commuting between Glasgow and Edinburgh just thinking, oh, that's handy, I'll spend that on a decent lunch. But at the root of this, you heard from those commuters, that's really important. But the root of this is the fact that most people in Britain don't go anywhere near a train.
This is it.
Well, that's
exactly. That was going to be my next question, Simon, because, I'm sorry, but fewer and fewer people are using trains. And I'm not surprised as well. You're being asked to pay more, and then you get on, and there's someone blaring their music out of their phone without putting their headphones in, and you've got empty Burger King wrappers everywhere, and depending on what time you get on the train, a variety of different fluids swirling around the thing. And then you think, why am I doing this? Why am I on this train? Why am I paying for this? It should be paying me.
Well, I hope you weren't referring to Emily's travel habits just then. No, it's the railway is really important for people like me. There's about 20 million or so of us in Britain who don't have access to a car, so it's really important. And yeah, I've seen the service deteriorate. We've just seen the end of the latest round of industrial action by the Train Drivers Union ASLEF that ended at midnight on LNER and on Northern, and we wake up to fare rises. But at the root of this, if we're talking for 3 minutes, during that time, taxpayers would have pumped £45,000 into the bottomless pit of rail finances. It's just extraordinary how much the railways consume. It's about £250 per second to keep what's, frankly, a pretty lousy service running.
Simon, just very quickly before we have to go, let you go. Anyway, we're hearing that Queen Camilla is set to jet off somewhere because obviously she's had a difficult time recently. And apparently it's somewhere sunny. Where's good this time of year? Top one place for the weather. Where are you going to get the hottest temperatures?
Well, you should just head down to Egypt. A really easy 5-hour flight. Pop you down in Sharm el Sheikh or Hurghada. All-inclusive deals. I can recommend some really good places for her. And she'll get that much needed sunshine.
I would love to
maybe it's Egypt.
I'd love to see Queen Camilla living it up in Sharm el Sheikh. Simon, thank you very much.